This session is scheduled to last 90 minutes with 3 separate presentations. This session is being recorded and will be made available in the replay section of the event as soon as possible. I would also like to bring to your attention that buildingSMART is committed to ensuring that participation in the development of standards is unrestricted and the process for their adoption is transparent, and standards that are developed do not favour any particular provider and are open, non-binding and accessible to all. And before we get started, please take note of our antitrust code of conduct, which is up on the screen. And with that, I will invite Steen to begin your presentation.
Thank you so much, Anna. Welcome to you all. 5 minutes ago, there were almost empty in this room, so I'm a bit nervous about the popularity of love, peace, and openBIM harmony. And all cameras come up, yes. So this design is a bit of both. So if you have any needs for good design and marketing, you know who to address. So this presentation is from me and Peter Ball from Denmark, and really good to see so many of you. First, a bit about the background for why we have been doing this. Is this working? It's not working.
It's temperamental.
You have to orient it actually in the direction of the notebook. Yeah.
Or I could change them for you.
Okay, please. Yeah. But there's a lot of clicking here.
That's okay.
So, okay. So, any BIM operatives here, BIM managers, coordinators, whatever. So, when you work in your projects, some of you may actually know that it takes quite a lot of effort to get all information requirements clearly. Next one as well. So, and that all information will be produced in time. Next one. Next one, please. And of course, according to all standards. Next one, please. You're gonna hear me say that a lot. And of course, that all software support your workflows. So these are just some of the things that you know. Either if it's not regulated in your project, you know it's actually a risk for conflict later on in the project. If it is in place, you have spent a lot of time doing it. And you have to do it over and over again in each project. And probably you have to do it from scratch in each project because you have to agree with people. So next one, please. Some of the challenges are, especially for the small and medium-sized enterprises, is that it's very challenging for them to use all those standards that are here to help us to actually regulate what needs to be regulated in project and also information management for facility management. But small and medium-sized enterprises, they don't have the resources. Smaller projects don't have the time to actually apply this. So what we're seeing here is the industry is developing a chasm between the big ones, big projects, big companies who have the resources to do this, but still they're very often doing it, make their own internal standards or their own dialects of national or international standards. We see from clients and also from delivery teams that in general, lack of competence. We see that there's unclear information requirement. Very many clients or appointing party, to use ISO 9650 terminology, they're actually handing over this responsibility to the delivery teams to define their own information requirements. That is not very wise to do so. And we see there are many different ways to require and follow up these requirements. And we know that there are many standards to observe and apply to according to. Next, please. So the idea was when we set off doing this for, I think it was the meeting in Lyon 1.5 years ago, it actually to have a more uniform approach to how to specify and agree information requirements. So it doesn't cover the whole value chain, at least not yet, but it's trying to make the setup of the project and the sharing responsibilities between the client, appointing party, and the delivery team, the appointed parties to be much clearer. So, and also we want to improve predictability. That's one of the things we ask in different countries. Why is it so difficult to have systems and solutions to support delivery according to standards and requirements, which may be very similar between project to project? They say, yeah, but it's the setup is different from project to project, and all these requirements are also different, and they're specified in different ways. So if we can have a more uniform approach, we also help the industry and the software developers to actually maybe automate some of these processes and lift the quality of the information delivered. And especially this approach here is to especially help the SMEs. Doesn't mean that large companies cannot use it, but we really want to use as much plain language as possible. Next, please. The content of the first version of openBIM Harmony is predefined requirement specification for now for buildings. We are considering also doing for it can be water supply, it can be for roads, but for now it's for buildings. Then we have some guideline templates to support the implementation of this. That is actually more overall, can be used for infrastructure as well. And Peter actually also ran a project in parallel to record all the existing standards, trying to find out that what we're doing here, because this is very much centered about ISO 19650, if there were local standards that were in conflict here. And luckily we found that that really wasn't. Next, please. So the normative standards that we are referencing to is the ISO 9650 series, which provides both terminology, and especially part 2 provides the methodology on how to agree and follow up, specify and agree and follow up requirements. Requirements are specified according to the level of information need. I know it's not allowed to abbreviate that, but I did because Marcia Volpini is not here. We actually may not know this said guideline, but I can just say very modestly it's brilliant because it has a very hands-on practical approach for the part of ISO 9650 Part 2 on how to specify and agree on requirements. So we actually have used that approach here. And it's been authored together with some of the authors who author also of the 9650 series, so we know that this is a correct interpretation of that. We actually also included some very basic practices from a Norwegian standard. And why are we doing that? Because that is actually now a SEM project to become a European standard as well, so we allow ourselves to do that as well. Next one, please. Yeah.
Oh.
Next one, please.
Sorry.
That's okay. So one of the things that I'm just going to go through some of the overall principles that is in the content here. The client or the appointing party actually have a responsibility to specify their own requirements. As I said before, quite often they depend on the architects, engineers, contractors to do so, but it's actually their responsibility to do so. Another thing is that they also have a responsibility to establish the accommodating environment. This is typically also something they will ask some in the delivery team to do, which they still can, but they should specify the functionalities and user rights and data security and so on. So and make a specific agreement with whomever is providing this. Next one, please. And to the extent that you have, usually there will be some digital maps, but maybe there also is a need for if it's a refurbishment project. You probably also need to provide digitalization of existing constructions. So all these is actually something that the client should do before they actually go into the tender stage, and this is actually helping guidance to do so. So great. Another thing is, as we said, you have to make this exchange information requirement. I have to say the ISO 9650 is about on the way to be revised. And all these terminology that we now have spent 5 years to train, or 7 years to train the industry to understand, are being renamed. So I'm looking at you. Probably not your idea, but you've been part of it, part of that. So here we are using the old terms, the existing ones. So just to be clear, and then the BIM execution plan, which many are also combining with requirement, but it shouldn't. The BIM execution plan is just the approach on how to deliver according to the EIR, the exchange information requirements. So, and this division of how things are done, that it's the client or appointed party, because the appointed party is not just a client, it can be a contractor, but it can also be a part of a delivery team who are outsourcing one of the, for example, the consultations with maybe energy analysis that they don't have in-house. So they can actually turn around, be a client for somebody else or appointed party for somebody else. That's why we're using these terminology. So the appointed party has to specify the exchange information requirement. And we have a document for that, this part 2.0. And the process is that during the tendering stage, all potential bidders, or all bidders potential so-called lead appointed parties. The lead appointed party is the one who is contractually responsible for all the appointed parties within the contract. They have to provide a pre-appointment BIM execution plan, which is kind of the first part of it, which is to specify their approach and also the goal. When I have done this and that, then I'm done with this part of the delivery. And based on that, the appointing party actually gets a very good and standardized way to evaluate the offers. And then when you have found your lead appointed party, they confirm there may be some negotiations that may change some things. They confirm the BIM execution plan and you start the mobilization. So, and yeah, I'm not going into that. So this is actually the two main documents in openBIM Harmony. There are actually more documents than that. The next page will show that, but these are actually the two main documents. If you have done this correctly and thoroughly and disciplined, you have avoided a lot of risk of conflict in your project. And you will also have this tool here actually really helps you. Actually, we have made this pre-filled requirement specification. So if you agree with the requirement here and the requirement that we have chosen, will suit many not ordinary projects, schools, housing, and not very technically complex constructions. And you just actually have to maybe change the logo and apply your project the title on. I think we take questions in the end. Is that okay? So, and then you have the plan template, the BIM execution plan, which is a template that has to be filled in by the bidder on this team. So yeah, there's actually a read me first introduction that pretty much said everything I've said here. Then you have some very overall description about for both the appointing party and the agreement process. And these two documents here, the part 2, part 1, and the 3, part 1, is actually the most important part. So the other documents is mainly supporting this.
The start was easy. We was, as Steen said, in the southern part of Europe at a meeting, a little screen, and we started off with a very clear and defined title for our work. It was something like harmonizing openBIM requirements, a very easy title for a product, and we knew it might be a success. In doing that, we focused on these two things because it's the most important thing. It is to have something that's common, something that can make us capable of talking together know that we are actually talking about the same thing when we are exchanging experience, knowledge, and insight. So this is one of the important things about Open BIM Harmony. Open BIM Harmony is about making us greater together. In doing that, we have been doing a number of things. We have been starting, as Sten showed, with the first version. It is just the beginning. It's a humble first version that can be used by you, but used by your chapter. It is not meant like law. It is meant to be used in a way so you actually can create a best practice. And in doing that, we might even create something that's even more important. It is that we are creating a common culture around this, so we actually can support each other, and maybe even more important, can support the industry. In doing that, we are so lucky that in the European Open BIM Forum, a large number of the countries, the chapters, has decided that they want to adopt and work with Open BIM Harmony. In doing that, we can see now that the working group meetings are becoming even better. Going from, we have just started up with four persons that have been working great together. Now we are still the four, but we are four more, and we would like even more to come to our work group meetings, because it's together that we actually can create the foundation for whatever is going to happen next with Open BIM Harmony. But we are going to talk about something that's important here. It is the implementation, but because it's great to have a homepage where you can download it, and it's great to have it on your Dropbox or whatever, and you can talk about it on slide deck. But actually, we all need to find a way to implement it. And in doing that, we have to recognize that we as chapters, we actually need to share. And we need to share because we would like to know how you are doing it in your chapter. And by having that, we will have a chance to work on the different experience, the different insight in a way so we can share it among the chapters in a way so we have a basis for working even further with this. What is the goal? It is actually to create and get insight from projects, from the real world, and not something just about the organization implementation, but about how can we show good cases. And then what is it we want then? We want to be able of communicating where is it Open BIM Harmony is going to create the value. We have ideas, but it might be in other places than we are having the focus right now. In having that, we will be capable of doing the right relevant updates and the next versions based on our common sharing of good practice with Open BIM Harmony. This is tomorrow. You want to join these workshops, these meetings, and you should write to Sten. Sten is this mail address, and then you should be part of it. It's not going to take too much of your time, and I'm pretty sure that you will find out that if you have some time in your calendar, it's the best investment of your time in the next months or years. Questions, as Sten said.
Any questions? Yes.
Yeah, I have a
Should you
short
pass the
question.
microphone?
Thank you very much. It looks very good. I'm not a member of this working group, but as a chair of the UBIM task group, I like the initiative. I'm just wondering, why would you consider this as a part of the European Open BIM Forum only? Is it reflecting specific requirements related to some EU legislative or legal requirements that are applicable only in the EU? Or is it like a general standard that is being adopted and you want to start with the European member states and then enlarge the group of users?
Thank you. That's a very good question. No, I think it's a bit organic. It started as a Nordic approach, and when we discussed this as a more like brainstorming at the first meeting we had in Lyon in the European Open BIM Forum, several other European countries wanted to join in. So it's been more like organic development from a smaller level to a bigger level. If there anyone here who are from non-European chapters and who want to join, you're of course welcome. So there's nothing here. We're according to ISO standards. So this applies to everyone.
So it's not specific. It's not covering specific requirements on data protection or whatever, referring to the EU legislative status quo. It's just based on ISO, right?
At this point, yes. And but then it will be up to, because this framework is actually meant not to be used directly in projects, but to be adapted, translated, and also adapted in your countries to this legislation. And of course, then EU the law applies as well. So if you're implementing this in a non-EU, you can do it differently. And we're not really that afraid that things will be a little bit different, because if the upset and the templates are the same from the beginning, we are at least much more harmonized than we were before. So that's kind of the approach. Plus that we have done like the 90% of the work for you, going through all the standards that we think in the first version is relevant, and more standards may actually apply at a later stage, because we find that we have to include that as well, but not on this stage.
Has this already been tested or by some kind of a client or contract or whatsoever? Dummy test, prototype testing?
There's one chapter who's already implemented this, and that's Norway.
Yeah.
And we are in dialogue with a number of clients, big ones, small ones, for facility management purposes, for project management. So we're not dummy tested it yet, but we are about to.
What I just think is, like any kind of testimonial, to have it and just put a stamp on it and say, like, all right, we're using that. That would help big times. I mean, like, it's really great what you're doing. And it would be quite cheap to get these testimonials, just saying, getting feedback, what can be improved, but already saying, like, this is going in the right direction. And the Norwegians are doing that already. So now, please, the French guys, the Germans, the Danes, follow, right? Companies are doing that and having the logo on the homepage, right? And just showing we are using that.
Thanks for the advice.
I just want to make a general comment on this thing. Because when I first thought to have this European Forum is because almost 100% of our legislation comes from European legislation. So we said, why don't we try to agree and then propose to Europe to use a standard instead of waiting to arrive to our countries and then we needed to harmonize it. So I think the work you are doing is really good, and we should find the channel to advise the European Commission to use these templates so that we do not need each country to do their own template. So you said that now is up to us to implement, but it would be even better if the implementation is made at European level, and then we will use it. of course, it's long and it's difficult, but the idea is that we work on top and not try to harmonize after, because that will be much more difficult. In the standard world, we used to say it's better a better standard more than having very good standards that are not harmonized. So that's it's just a philosophy, but anyway, I think we should keep in mind that I think that our community can do really a lot to facilitate all the countries to adopt this open BIM.
That what you guys want to hear first, gentlemen?
First of all, wow, very cool. I think that's exactly what our chapters, our people, our users, our clients need. Very, very good. Question from my side, do you consider this as a members only content, or should it be free for everyone? Because we have a discussion, what is the value of buildingSMART, also attracting new members? Is this something we should give away, or is this something that is on top for someone who gets member of buildingSMART?
Of course, I mean, this is meant for chapters to use, and we are of course giving it to chapters for free because in the name of spirit of sharing. But the business model for the different chapters, I think probably there will be some different ways of doing it. In Norway, our approach has been first version free for everyone, first shot is free, and then later versions there will be probably some parts, some services behind a paywall or at least a membership wall. What we say that now that everybody can use it in Norway, but if you want support with implementing it, you have to be a member. I'm just picking up the phone for members. That's kind of where we are now. But later on, I see that maybe this is very simple. This is Word documents in Excel, something that everybody uses and know, and so it's very low level. But maybe we decide to develop a project platform where you can specify, put in your project with everybody who's responsible and so on. They get the information at the time they need and so on, and that will be some sort of service that's behind a paywall, for example. That's something we can share maybe in Europe to develop together.
Sorry. This is why it's so important.
We need the infra people to have a work group. So if you can have a work group to what I think we can use 80% of it, but it's the specification of the requirement that will be different, and we need we need your help then to. So we have the first one here. That's fantastic, Tina. Everybody heard this, so. Okay, I think we this sums up this meeting. Thank you for the great attention. Wow, so many people. That was really. You said it will be packed, and you were right again.
You think we may take a picture?
Yeah, sure. Selfie? No, I want a selfie.
No, I don't want.
You are there and I make pictures.
Now I'm at the end of the world. You guys go back to this QR code, please, with this kind of.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's see if it works for you.
Where do you buy the t-shirts that you're wearing? How much?
I forgot to say, but whoever is joining, it will give a free t-shirt. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Just give us a couple of minutes while we transition to the next presentation.
We are continuing with the presentation about the regulatory room and the European projects on e-permitting. If you are interested, you can say. So now is Franco going.
I'm not sure I'm so awake, but I can try. Okay, thank you. Franco Coin, I'm the Regulatory Domain Chair, and I would like to talk today about how it's going. Okay, about the project that has been founded by the European Union. The European Union in about 3 years ago, they launched inside the Horizon project 2021-2027, an initiative that was in the initiative that is called Shaping Europe's Digital Future. They launched not a tender, but an initiative that was related to digital building permitting, and it was involving also our standards, so BIM and GIS. Everything, the focus was on open standards, of course, and the key, sorry. And then the winner were these 3 projects. Maybe many of you probably already heard about them. Many of them of you probably already they worked in this project. They did their contribution. The regulatory room has not been directly involved, but some of our members took part to it. Some members of the regulatory domain steering committee, and I personally have not been directly involved, so I based this presentation exclusively on deliveries. What the websites are reporting, because I don't want to go inside in the project difficulties that has been quite hard to run in such a big environment. The 3 projects are Accord, that is about I see also the claim, that is digital building permit and compliance verification. The Check project is Change Toolkit for digital building permits, and DigiChecks, that is a European project to develop a new digital framework to manage permits and compliance checks in the construction industry. My presentation, I want every time talk about the three of them, because I think that it's good to have an idea of what is the coverage, and in case you are interested in, you can go in the deep in understand what they have done. Okay. No, sorry. The 3 projects are almost finished. They have done their final seminar. Check report a project completion of 98%. The other one are almost on the same level. But the EU final documents / comments are not yet reported, so you can check only in the websites of the 3 projects to understand what they have done. Oh, the consortia has been very wide. buildingSMART has been took part to check in the Accord project. We were not as an institution. We were not involved in the DigiCheck project. That is more technical. We will explain in the following. And the countries that have been involved are 11 in case of Accord and the Check, and 5 in the case of DigiChecks, of course, all European project, all European countries. The goals. Here we start to see the difference. The Accord is working on framework. Semantic framework has the aim to better define a semantic framework. It's including BIM and other data sources like GIS and other kind of data, and is also focusing on real formalization and compliance tools and the microservices. So software, but also we are in the Accord project. We see that they were working on rules. And they were involving especially and focusing on national regulations. The Czech project provided toolkit for to help municipalities, so the focus is not on the country but on municipalities. And the digital building and city data were the focus, so we are very close to, let's say, smart city concept, in my opinion. And of course, there is also, in this case, there is also an interesting part about the automatic checking the permitting. DigiChecks is clearly different. It's not so close to our mentality, in my opinion, especially here in buildingSMART. Is a solution framework that allows, regarding of which kind of level you are in the digital permitting, if you are a national process, if it is something that is related to municipalities, to provide tools commonly used and using the tools commonly used in construction, and to create a platform of platforms, that's what they say, to make them to interoperate with appropriate tools and appropriate principles. They do not imply changing the process, so they are not they're not discussing, let me say, the rules, the laws, and they are more focusing on exchange information. All the projects have some pilots. In the case of Accord, they were working inside the actual project of Finland, Estonia, and they also had some activity. They do some activities in Germany, Spain, and UK processes. They were working. I remember that they are working at the national level. Portugal, in the case of Czech, that are the name of the municipalities. There is one in Italy, Ascoli Piceno, Prague, Lisbon, Villanova de Gaia. So we have very different kind of municipalities, big and small. While in the case of DigiChecks, the focus was on the scenarios, and we have a civil engineering scenario in Wales, in the United Kingdom, and a building for residential use scenario in Spain, and a building for office use in Austria. So these are the focus. There were the three projects. So this is one of the big differences. Impacts. Okay. The impacts are, of course, reported in the program of these projects. As I said, it is very close. If you take a look to the aim of the project we're launched for. So, of course, Accord want to impact at the national level, and of course, Czech want impact at the municipal level, and to do this, is more focused on openness, on capability of sharing information, while DigiChecks is more focused on technical aspect, like increase efficiency and let's say talk about how the platform can be more efficient to support the processes. Accomplishment. The Accord is the one who released something about machine readable laws. The other didn't. I thought Czech was talking about this. All the two projects, Accord and Czech, were talking about GIS and IFC integration. They did a big job, a big work about this, and each one was very interested in, of course, share the results and their gain. What they get during the project. So we have an e-learning hub in Accord and in Czech, and while in DigiChecks it's a little bit less easy to find their results, because they have something that is more complex. And honestly, I have to go to GitHub. I don't know, that is a very technical environment to understand a little bit more what they delivered. Anyway, no clue. It's not a problem. It's my problem. It's not a problem of the project, of course, because it's very technical. The one thing we have to say for DigiChecks is that it's very, very immersed in the new policy, European policy for cloud, for the system and the platforms. Deliverables. I don't watch the numbers because it depends on the style of deliverables and documents that has to be released, but it's quite interesting to see that each of them was talking about the standards that has to be used. Some of them were talking about laws, rule, regulation, and recommendation. Two of them were talking about requirements. This could be interesting, in my opinion, for the Harmony project. And the other thing is that it's very valuable, the fact that we have a good number of documents about what happened during the project, and so it's shareable what they had together in the pilots. Yes, there is not only documentation in the deliverables, there is also software, and we have more than about 19 software components separated in different parts from the Accord project. We have 16 applications that are available from the Czech project, and we have in the DigiChecks, as you said, you have to go to GitHub, you have to go in the very technical environment, and you can find that there are some parts that are quite interesting that are, let's say, components for API, for integration API, integrating data from different sources. Okay, can go. Okay, comments. Now I have a comment from AI, but as usual, when you have a comment from AI, I did this just to say, okay, let's start from this, but it's quite, AI is quite stupid in this case because it's very generic. Comments good comments are coming from this document that is emitted by the European Commission, but it was in 2023, so at the beginning of the project, and it was not reporting anything about DigiCheck other than it was a sister project that was launched, and so the comments are that the difference are about the formalizing different aspects of the digital building process. So it's very different to talk at a national level and to go at the municipality level because the complexity, but also at the same time, the kind of problems you have are quite different. And then, least but not last, my 2 cents. In my opinion, the project demonstrates substantial effort. They worked hard, actually, and they have it. They showed how complex it is to work in a multinational environment. If you try to go to the pilot, if you want to do something that works, so you have to take care of many things. Of course, you can squeeze the requirements to as much as you can, but not too much. The key strength of the key strength of the project is the ability to collect different forces in these projects related to digital building permitting, and also in many times also involving regulatory authorities. That is something that as regulatory domain, we know it's very hard to do, not only in Europe, everywhere. Czechs they've been very good in this political approach, in being able to involve many governments, many institutions. DigiChecks appears a little bit so complicated also to institutions, so it's hard for them to involve them in the project. But as I said, they were exactly in the line of the European guidelines for platforms, for shared platform. The only issue I think is that the output are valuable and informative, but they are valuable not for all the time, not for longer, because this valuable information are related to the pilots, and the pilots were in a situation where they have a specific regulation, specific status of openBIM and so on. And in my opinion, at the moment, Accord is probably the project that could be the output of the project soon, and can manage them in a real world, because Finland and the other countries are going to digital building permitting before. If we take the result of a project, I was wondering, if we take the result of a project, we try to use them into 5 years, I think that after 5 years, I think it could be not so valuable as they are now. Okay, this is an event that is in Vienna. It will be in 2 and 4 December. There is also buildingSMART in the network that is supporting this event, and most of the projects should present something during this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the overview of these three leading projects on digital building permits. Can you just quickly explain the role of buildingSMART in the two where you were contributing? Is there any advisory role you played, or I mean, just to know how buildingSMART contributed? That was a bit missing.
Okay, as I told you, we were as a regulatory room. We didn't have an official role, but there were people from buildingSMART. I think, Sheila, you were the coordinator for Accord. Yeah. So there was internal people from buildingSMART that was calling who was involved in the specific area where they need some information, some activity. I know that Evandro Alfieri has been strongly involved in all the projects, so the technical room has been strongly involved in. I think that some other people has been involved from also for the marketing and so on. So there's been an involved on call, let me say. There was not a substantial approach, but this was what we were required for. We were required to be Any other question?
Well, that's just a quick one. I just noticed the references of BIM in the slides. And maybe I just missed it. Was there openBIM utilization in these three projects?
Very, very good question. No, that's a very good question, because I reported what is reported in the websites, not to create differences between the three and so on. DigiChecks was not involving that only BIM. It was involving everything, and it was just a way to connect systems with systems. Check was using openBIM, but they have also a lot of experimentation that is related to GIS. And also, in fact, there is also OGC that is involved in as partner of the project, and Accord is using BIM, openBIM, and OGC and GIS too. So OpenGIS too. So the two main standards if you take a look at the slides or in the projects are GIS and openBIM.
Hi, just to make a suggestion for buildingSMART, maybe there is a report related to global openBIM mandates collecting and really interesting documents. So maybe we can create a kind of similar document collecting digital building permits initiatives, including openBIM. Of course, we know that in the last summits, it's a topic that some people have been presenting in Vienna, the Netherlands, Madrid, currently Dubai too. So maybe it would be nice to collect all these practices in the same report.
Thank you very much, Sergio, because this is what we were talking about this morning during the regulatory domain session. So the need of the regulatory domain to work strictly with, more strictly, more side by side with the chapters, because many things that we are now facing when Steen was talking about the AIR, we are working on our IR requirement, regulatory information requirements, that is more or less the same problem of harmonization of, we have exactly the same requirements for information requirements for regulatory, for digital building permitting. And for example, this morning we discussed it for, there was, let's say, an orphan topic that was archiving. Now, we have the problem in some countries that the requirements for using IFC as an archiving format is not so clear, is not so defined. This is something that we have to push at the European level, in my opinion, and probably in every single national level. Okay, so this is absolutely something that we support with all of our, from our heart, from the deep of our heart.
I know that there is a tender that is due by tomorrow that is just proposing to do what you were saying. So trying to get the results from all these European projects. It is founded by DG GROW, and so we hope that we will see the results in a few months, but usually it takes longer, maybe a couple of years before we know these results. Anyway, just waiting for the next call, I just want to give another idea why I think it's important that we, as European chapter, we share the knowledge that we that we get through these European funds. I'm sorry, I cannot show the slide because they asked me this morning to prepare something on this, so I didn't. I could not send it. Anyway. The LIFE program, so it's not DG GROW, but it's DG Energy, has promoted several initiatives to try to have a better workforce for the building environment. The first program started 15 years ago, and I have been involved in this project since 15 years ago. And 2 years ago, they had a new call asking to all member states to make a proposal for a roadmap to increase the competencies of the workforce in the building sector. So engineer, architect, but also workers, technicians, and so on. I prepared the roadmap for Italy, and we came out with the 5 main actions that were considered very important from the Commission. And this was, first, the strategic procurement providing maximum impact. So it's not that you win the tender because you have the best economic technical solution, but because you provide something that leaves a good impact on the territory, in terms also on the acquisition of competencies. In my roadmap, of course, I mentioned the buildingSMART certification, saying that this should be something that should be considered and should be required by the public authorities, because if it's not required, it's difficult that people would ask for this certification. Especially because in Europe we have, I think, about 90% of small enterprises that they're not really interested to get this certification unless it is required. The second point was in incentives for the development. Of course, this is usually the policy from European Commission. In each country we have our own system for incentivation. The other is to actively involve citizens and stakeholders to let people understand the importance of a house that is really sustainable, which is more comfortable, which gives less problems and so on. So provide messages for the population that would be more interested in having their home refurbished. The fourth was the renewal of the education and training chain. And this in Italy, I discovered that 66% of the workers do not have any qualification. They hardly know Italian. And so it's really difficult to reach these people and to have a real digitalized world. So we need to find new ways. And the last, of course, is the transition toward the construction 4.0. From this roadmap that was approved by European Commission and by more than 100 Italian stakeholders, we start for a new proposal that is due today at 5 in the afternoon. And the first is Nebula, National Energy and Building Upskills for Labor Architecture. And the idea is to have a common database for the competencies of all professionals and workers in any technology, but with the competencies in digitalization and in green building. What this means is that if someone needs to, you want someone that install a heat pump or a photovoltaic plant, he has to know some digital skills, because he needs to be able to read a 3D model, understand how it has to be settled, and so on. And from this project, we will have some models, we will have some pilot cases, and so we are ready to share whatever we will do in our project, national project at the European level. The other project is called Scale Up, Scaling Capacity for Affordable Low Carbon Energy Renovation. And this is addressed to really more than small, but it's micro enterprises. Well, micro, I mean the electrician, the plumber, the bricklayer, because if we want to really have a digitalized building construction, we need to reach these people. And again, in Europe, I think 90% of companies are 90%. And the other problem is that the average age of these people is increasing. In Italy, we are right almost at 50 years old. So it means that we need to attract more young people and women in this sector. And digitalization, if we are good enough to promote the importance of digitalization, probably we can get this target into the building market. What we are going to do is to adapt ISO 1965, ISO 50001 on the energy systems to the needs of these micro enterprises. And I was speaking with someone before that these are important because they are also suppliers of larger companies. So it's important both for the company that works for the small municipalities, but also for people that work for big industry and they do the maintenance on the installation. So what we thought is to have a training system. If you remember, before I said that we need to renovate the educational system, and the training system that we want to test is called the cascade training. It means that we train the architects or the engineers, so design or construction, and they, once they will be promoted like trainer, they will train their employees or their workers, their team in the use of digital tools. When I say digital tools, it means that we will buy some tablets that these people will have, and so they can visualize the model. They can click and visualize how where it should be installed, and they can put the information about the installation and so on. So something very simple and adapt to that 65% of workers that do not have any educational level. The tablet could be very, very easy to use. So the impact of this will be that the houses can be built in faster, cheaper, and with a higher quality. So there are many studios that show that they can decrease the cost of at least 10-15% and increase the quality. So we believe that with this we can provide, deliver deep, affordable and renovation of building. So last slide. So I am the promoter of the project, or this both project. In the Scale Up project, I have asked buildingSMART France, Portugal, and Romania to join as partner. And then I have received a support letter from Czech Republic, Croatia, Greece, Norway, Poland, and Spain. Why I ask for these letters? Because again, I think it's important to show the evaluators and the Commission that we are already a community that are ready to share our knowledge, because there is really a lot of knowledge that we have here, and there is so much need of knowledge outside of our community. And the project, it's about 1.6 million euro, and the partner involved is buildingSMART Romania will will make the adaptation of 1965 to these micro enterprises, and that could be used maybe in the future for training certification also for small entities. Then France is developing the ISO 50001 adaptation, and I put some more funds to ensure that we could use the EOF website for the project. And so it means that we will increase the quality of our website, but at the same time we will have much more people that will know about us, because we will put all the information related to the project and all the outputs into the EOF website. And then the Portugal will work on CDA and training adaptation, and this again could be used by PCERT for the innovation to promote this among the chapters. So what I mean, I have always seen European project something that can help us to reach our common goals. And so I don't know if the project will be founded or not, but anyway, I think that we have shown that the collaboration can be very, very strong and very important also from the economical point of view. Because I know that being the chairman of the EOF, I am not doing the proper job. I should do much more. But without fundings, it's really impossible. It's all voluntary job, and I do not have the time to do it. So this is the reason why at my age, I am retired, I am my own money, and I have my grandchildren. I still am working on this project because I really would like this to go forward. So I apologize if sometimes I do not do what I should do, but it's the lack of human resources to do it, besides the time. Okay, with this, I think I finished. The only thing that, again, we are 22 chapters representing 24 countries. And if we can share the output of European project, as Franco showed before, and I am doing now, I think that we can have, we all will gain something. Thank you. Questions? Yeah. Okay, Marta has a question.
It's not quite a question, it's just sharing my experience. More like 5 years ago, as an architect, I was giving technical assistance to a refurbishment of a building in Porto. And I found that I wanted them, it's a small company, my company is very small. I was working very, very small contractor company. But I wanted them to use the model that I created so they can see and check information, because they are always asking me some very basic questions that they could pick up on the model. So I decided to, every time in the beginning of the refurbishment, to take always my laptop with me so I can show them the model. And suddenly I decided not to take it anymore. And on that day, the guy that was in front of the construction, a simple guy, not an engineer, he was really upset with me because he managed to bring to the construction and to the meeting the plumbing and the electrical guy that were going to do the job. And he wanted him to see the doll, as he said. I want to see the doll, the 3D. And I said, well, I didn't bring it. You have the drawings. So, but it will be much better for me because they came from 50 kilometers just to come to the meeting, and you don't bring the laptop. So I challenged him and I said, if I share with you my model, do you have kind of a tablet or computer that you can bring to the construction? And he said yes. So I shared the IFC with him. And after that, many questions that he was making before stopped, and he actually organized small meetings in the construction to show the bands he was leading. And just to finish, and after that, I managed to have another refurbishment made by that company, and I decided to upfront deliver the IFC model. And the construction was not in Porto, it was in Braga, like it's far away, like 50 kilometers or so. And I was being a little bit worried because they didn't ask me questions, and I could not go to the construction site regularly. And one day I appeared there, and they had mounted on the site like a BIM kiosk with laptops and looking at the model. And it was really great to see that I could manage somehow to take the BIM how do you say, facilities from my office to the construction site, and it worked. They were actually measuring some triangular beams, I don't know how to say, and they were measuring on site. They construct them on the, how do you say, fabrica or whatever, out of the construction site, and then bring them like a Lego to put them in the, yes. So it actually was really fulfilling to me to see that I managed to influence them, like very basic things to use BIM to help me communicate the project and to organize the construction. Thank you.
Okay, so if there are other comments or questions, anyway, the idea of the project came out from my experience in my refurbishment in the house I have in Naples. So it's 200 kilometers from Naples. And I can write more than one book on what was happening with all the plumbers, electricians, and so on. And then I realized that the main problem was the lack of communication among people that are used to work with among them. So the electrician knew the plumber knew the bricklayer, but they didn't speak each other. And every time they were complaining about the work done from the other people. So it was such a waste of time that the work that could be done in 3 months, it took more than 3 years. So that's I really believe in the project I wrote. So I hope that it will be successful. So I think that we were too long. Is Jan awake? Jean is awake? Okay. Okay, so how it works now? Okay, so Jean Branger, I know him since we were both in the STEP community. So it means more than 30 years ago. we met again now because he's in the French chapter. So before we were dealing about nuclear power station, now we are dealing with small companies in this. But so
do you see my screen?
He has his own company and it belongs to the French chapter and is a partner of the project that I have shown you. And he will present again a proposal for common effort for the digital passport.
Yes, thank you.
Jan?
Yes, do you hear me? Do you see the screens? Okay, good. So we have 3 topics which are related: the digital product passport, the environmental product declarations, and the life cycle assessment. And of course, the newest is
you need to increase the volume of the computer because we hear very low.
I'm sorry, but
just speak loud.
I will speak loud. I will speak loud. Is it better now?
Shout from San Diego. We can hear you.
Yeah, I was in San Diego the weekend. Now I am in Phoenix. It's a little bit hotter, and so it's oh gosh, I'm on the STEP conference as usual because I'm still a strong role in the STEP development as a project leader for the STEP standard. So we have these 3 topics, and the digital product passport is the newest one that we are dealing now since a few years that you heard about. So what is interesting is what is important for us, in fact, that we have been working is that the construction sector is in fact interconnected with all the other sectors. That is, you cannot do anything in the city, in the countries, in your life, in your economy, if you don't have buildings, if you don't have roads, if you don't have places to work or to live or whatever. So when we talk about construction and materials and interoperability, we are talking to everybody, not only the construction sector, because construction sector is here to be to the service to other things. So that's something very important, which put construction as a very key place when we want to exchange information, share data, and share processes. What we have also identified is that we need to. What is important to us is that there's a flow of information and data, which has to start from the performance and from the product definitions, from the product characteristics, the properties. But the objective for us is that at the end, people take the right decision on their day-to-day business. And one of us for us is how do I generate and deliver and maintain sustainable buildings and sustainable activities in these buildings. So it's not only about the construction itself, it's about having enough information so that because I'm using the correct the best materials which have the best LCA assessment, then I can convince my finance people to fund project and to invest into renovations because they will get the benefit of it. So how do I get the data flow? How does our in architecture and construction and material production information can help people make right decisions in the sustainability of the city and the construction world. So that's something which is, and the idea is to use also regulations because regulations are using these elements. So if you can fit into regulations, it will be better for us. On the real estate, for example, and the valuation of financial valuation of real estate, the work has been done many years ago and still going on. So we can. The interest for us is to demonstrate to investors that it is a valid move. It's a very good move to renovate with the correct materials that you manage your building. It will bring value to your assets, and if you have value in your asset as a finance, it's valuable. So you'll be ready to invest. So the thing is, how does our work that we do on digital product passport, on better materials, on better construction process, on better shapes, on having better buildings, can provide value and enable value creation to the rest of the value chain, including the real estate. So that's and think that we should be able to connect our construction data to this computation of the real value estate, the real estate value. This has been done. So we have a life cycle of the product for the construction products. And the whole objective that we are pushing by everyone is decarbonization, is to be efficient, is to be environmental friendly, and our product data shall be able to reflect that, to help us choose the right products. And we're expecting that research and development and also the people producing the product will go in this direction. And that's the goal that we want to do. So how do I do this in real life? So in fact, we have 3 stages. We need to be able to assess everything. We need to exchange the information which are describing the products and the components, and this will enable people to take decision and use these products in a much better way. And we have a virtual. It's very positive as a cycle. In order to do that, we did a few. We proposed a platform that were already presented quickly at the EOF 2 years ago, but project is still defined. We're still looking for funding for the project, but we keep on working. Where we have three topics. One is how do I define catalogs of products with all the information that we need. How can we, in the middle, define the life cycle assessment, including the declarations, the digital product passports? And the last thing is on the right side, is how do I help real estate managers based on all this information on the catalogs, the DPP, and the product and the service and the components, to take the right decision when they want to update and renovate a building, so they can have renovation plans and renovation strategies which can be set up based on the data from the products. In order to do that, of course, we need standards like the 23386, the all our data dictionary standard, but we also need standards to define the BIM models for the assets. But what we discovered is that we also need AI to help us improve and define the building renovation strategies, and also to help us assess and define the product catalogs. So AI will be a key component of these type of projects that we want to do. I will show you after that some other topics, which are in fact everything we need. All the data that we need to gather. You have seen already these slides in other presentations, but that's the life cycle of the building, and these things are what we are looking for as information to gather. And we have how the common data environment will help us gathering this information and share it between the different partners. So when we get now to the exact precisely to digital product passport, it's about everything that can describe the product in terms of its durabilities, how we can reuse it, can it be repaired, what is it composed of, what are the substances in it, the energy efficiency related to the product or the component, the building component or building product, what can be recycled, how can it be remanufactured, and also the carbon and environmental footprints as a result of all this. So we are expecting to have all this in digital, because we cannot do it without digital, and digital has to be trusted. And so the way that people are looking at this today is to have product data templates and product data sheets that we get together. Here I got something from Norway. I think it's coming from Norway, but it's you have this initiative are popping out at different places, but that's how we expect these things to pop up. I would when we go back to the e-construction project that I presented just before, this sheet here with this project, which is called e-construction, the role of the AI is important, and then it will be interesting to see how AI can help also to define the templates and generating the templates and data sheet. And that's something that some people are looking at. I know in UK, we are looking at it here in e-construction in France, but AI is playing a role in the definition of the standards, definition of the forms, definition of how to fill them and how to validate them. That can be interesting. So how do we define them? So that's a simple data template that you can describe the properties. You have seen that. I would not spend much time on this. What is important that you need to have readable, we need unique IDs in order to be sure that we are referencing specific object, but that's exactly what we have done with the standards on BIM, IFC, and also the catalog standards. So we know how to do it. So when we need to do these standards, so we need to use them. So we need standards, and these standards. So there have been some work done in building in the EOF to gather all the standards in use and what are the one in use. So this helps us a lot to go forward on these topics. And in fact, what we are talking about, because we are talking about machines readable standards, in fact, we are talking about codes, and this code has to be unique and non reused by the full process of the thing. So the openBIM for us is a way to more or less, in fact, use this data and use this information and these IDs in the models. And the objective is to use, proposal is to use, we already have everything we need. We just need to have the right data at the right place in the model. But we can do this easily for us. It's already ready to use in the IFC and openBIM. So one of the issues we have is that in the DPP is that data has to be gathered and added. You add data over data over data through the whole life cycle stage of the product or the component, and it's made by different organizations. So the thing is to be able to create the digital product passport while gathering information from everyone and put it in, make it available in a way that it is useful for the end users and the recyclers and people which will do the circular economy. So that's so there's a project called Surpass2, which has been funded by the Europe, on which we have a few companies. Schneider Electric is working on. We have some of our friends in the buildingSMART is working on. It's I'm sorry, I forgot the name. I'm getting old. But our friends from Norway, which are doing the catalogs, solutions, are part of this project, and they are developing there's a use case on building on this Surpass2 project, which is you know the name of the company. I guess they are in the room somewhere. And so in order to get all these to work together, the system cannot be centralized. We want the system to be decentralized. That's very important. And the question which is raised today is: do we need the distributed ledger technology to manage that? Our viewpoint, today, the status is that we don't need that to start. We will need it at the end. In any case, it will help to as you say, to manage the distribution, but we can still work with a DPP system with backbones, which can already start to work without distributed ledgers. Today, we still have some DLT interoperability issues with digital ledgers. The DPP needs to be deployed in trust-free environments. So, no, DT has to be deployed in system where we have wide access to the data, and also we need to have a low-cost system, and that's something that we have to ensure. So that's a proposal that what people are doing today in the data space world in Europe with Gaia-X, in order to allow the various actors in this in a system to use and use DPP based on what we call the EDSA connector, which is a system which allows to connect your legacy system in an internal company to the shared data space based on standardized process and data. And by using these connectors, it's easier and faster to deploy the shared data space. And I think that's more or less getting to the end, I think. So a DPP system is a very important part of the circular economy. It has to be decentralized. It has to be inclusive, so we need to be able to accept everyone. And to enable this circular economy, we need to be very flexible, and we need to have built-in interoperability, which is the case with our standards, openBIM, and the catalogs. Our standard catalogs are already available. So the Surpass project is a deployment project which is running, but it's also close and related to the other project I told about you, which is e-construction, which also help defining these catalogs and make them available specifically for the construction industry and renovation and the circular economy. That's from our side, from the French chapter, the work that we are involved in. Any question?
Thank you, Frank. I don't know, Jean. I don't know. Anyone has a question? Want to ask anything? Well, I would like to know if you want to make a proposal for this community on how to capitalize what you have done, or do you have any idea?
So what we tried to do, that was a year, 18 months ago, was to invite the community to the e-construction project, but in fact we did not find the right call to answer at that stage, because it was not, we looked together. What we are trying to do is to, yes, what could be interesting is to maybe to work to, so do I have a call for the community now?
Okay. Jean, as
Frank
we need to
may have
call,
something. Yes.
we need to close
Go on.
the section. So maybe if you can think about it and send
Yeah,
a message
will
to
come
us.
to me.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Enjoy San Diego.
Yeah, bye bye.